We're here at the CTICC for Africa Tech Festival 2022. I'm joined by Mariam Abdullahi, who is the Director of Android Platform Partnerships at Google. The $64 million question then, of course, that I have to ask you is, how do we convince the public sector, the private sector to partner to remove the barriers to connectivity for all, affordable connectivity for all?
Yeah. Well, thanks for that wonderful question. I am going to collect my $64 million on that one. I think the ecosystem as a whole, private, public, need to get together and actually really partner on what's most important here, which is putting the user first. What do we need to do to get the users to be digitally enabled so that they can be competitive, learning from a learning perspective, from a wealth creation perspective, from an entertainment perspective, and so on and so forth, so Africa can be competing with the rest of the world. What do we need to do? I think we all need to play our part. I always say it has to be a perfect symphony, right? If you're in policy, you have to play your part and do it for the greater good of the users and play your part correctly. For me, from an Android platform partnerships perspective, I need to ensure that we're building an ecosystem that runs on every price point device, whether it's the entry level or the highest end, in a secure, functioning and delightful manner. That's my job. I also need to make sure that Google Play ensures is a digital marketplace that makes money for the developers that choose to put their products on that part. But my job is also to convince Google that what is required in Africa. Luckily, my job is not so hard because Sundar Pichai, our CEO, already sees that. Last year, he committed an additional $1 billion to invest in Africa over the next 5 years, from a connectivity perspective, from a startups perspective, from a digital skills perspective, and from an innovation perspective. We've also just announced last May, if you'll remember, that we've announced a development center in Africa, the first of its kind. We already have a research center in Ghana, but now we're putting a product development center so that we can fix exactly the issue you said. How do we create that delightful experience of content being used on devices in the most affordable way? For me, right now, my biggest one is Android ecosystem, make sure it's strong and it runs on all ecosystems, but go further and offer solutions that are able to give partners device financing options, right? So that I'm able to buy a device for as little as 20 cents a day, if that's what it was, right? And we see that already working in Kenya. We see it working here in South Africa. We've partnered with partners in Mozambique, in Tanzania, and all over the continent to ensure that we're able to support them on their device financing journey.
Mariam, thank you. It's about putting the user first. Make sure that you get your updates at Africa Tech Festival, #Africa Tech Festival 2022.